our generation doesn't know how to be bored. Sit in your boredom and be still.
Love like a mountain that cannot be moved. Just as an eagle, I found freedom in you, a peace which brings me.
So we are starting with our brows like this. I literally just brushed them up and cleaned them up with concealer because I'm not going to be putting product on my brows or on my forehead because this is literally a fringed wig. Let us get into the topic. I was having a meeting the other day and the lady said that our generation as in the people that are here now, not like our age group, but she was saying that our generation doesn't know how to be bored. And I said, that is the truth. That is actually the truth. And then speak about alignment, I was also watching a live with Joey. They were talking about moving into a different era and they mentioned something about always being stimulated and how that affects the attention span. And I was like, this is a topic. So we have moved far away from having to patiently wait for anything now. And in as much as it's beautiful for convenience sake, I don't think it is natural. I don't think so. So remember when we were talking about relationships and the value on my first chit chat in this series, it was about Pop the Balloon, and I was telling you how before we had to write letters, wait for a response, but now you need to get your response of a text in 2 hours, an hour, sometimes even minutes. And if it's longer than that, you feel like the person is taking too long. But that also translates to every other thing that we have now in life. If you are watching a live video on YouTube, right, it has evolved to that. You're watching a live video on YouTube and the person can respond immediately to what you have said. Instant gratification. If you write a comment on someone's Instagram post and they reply back, instant gratification. If you order something online, okay, that's a little bit different here where I live, but I know, for example, in Korea, in China, maybe sometimes in the UK, I don't know if you pay for same day delivery. In America, South Africa, probably, I'm not sure, but the convenience of looking at something online and getting it a couple days or a week after that, where you had to sometimes wait for months for a response from someone. Of course, it started with emails. If a person saw your email immediately, they could respond. We've moved from letters, and the same thing with text messages and WhatsApp and all of that. I enjoy technology because my work is literally online and I get to research online, but the problem with that is I have the idea that I need to get my answers immediately. When I was studying for my undergrad, as it then, for you to access, of course we had access to the internet if you go to an internet cafe, but if you had an assignment, you literally had to walk into the library, search according to, there were letters, how they demarcated everything, search according to the letters, look for the book. Either you borrow it or you do your assignment in there, but you literally have to read through chapters and chapters and chapters before you can write your assignment and sift through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. An assignment would take you maybe a whole day. So the day that you don't have lectures, you just go into the library, you're working on your assignment, a written assignment, by the way, and then you submit it. Now, all I have to do is Google and it will give me the exact answer. I don't know what that is doing to my brain capacity. I am very good at math, because I intentionally don't use my calculator. But for the children that are learning now, they can just take out their calculator and check what the answer is. Take out their smartphone, Google, check what the answer is. So my question is that being retained? Is the knowledge being retained? But I digress. That's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about the instant gratification, the instant dopamine, and what that does for our attention span, because we don't know how to be bored anymore. So we are using Angelic, which is a very, very light pink. Oh, let's go. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, that has a nice shimmer to it. So let's start by defining what dopamine is. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that mainly works in your reward center. We call it the feel-good hormone. So in many bodily functions, it makes you feel good after something happens. So when we look at dopamine from an evolutionary standpoint, it is released in your body to make you feel good about doing things that help you survive. So when you eat, it's released, makes you feel good so you can continue eating, which contributes to your survival. Same thing when you drink, you release dopamine. When you compete, it also releases in your body to make you continue to survive. Now, because we have evolved from the point where we were hunting, gathering for food, dopamine is released in our system with the simple pleasures that we have. One of them being junk food. So sugar, processed food, fast food, they actually design it to make you release more dopamine, and therefore it becomes addictive to you and you want to continue having it. So that feeling that you feel when you eat your favorite food, it doesn't actually have to be junk food, but with junk food it is specifically designed to do so. But the feeling that you have when you're having your favorite food, that feeling that makes you want to have more and more, that is dopamine, because it makes you feel real good. You also release dopamine when you're drinking something you like Coca-Cola, for example, because of the when you open it and the taste and how it goes down your throat because it's fizzy, that is going to release dopamine for you and it's going to make you want more of it. The competitiveness is something that I actually experience every day, or every day that I work out. As soon as I finish working out, I get a boost of dopamine because my brain thinks that I have competed to get food for the day or something like that, but that's how dopamine is released. Dopamine is also released when you get new information that is pleasurable. And so when you used to watch long YouTube videos, for example, I used to watch Jackie Aina, Patricia Bright, and they would be like 20-30 minute videos, or they're like an hour-long vlogs, and afterwards I would feel good because I've experienced life through them. I've experienced America, the UK, or wherever else they have traveled, and that would give me a dopamine high. All the social media platforms have understood that the more you get this dopamine high, the more time you're going to spend on the application. And that's why all the applications are moving to short form, because if I watch Nara Smith's cooking video and it's probably 1:30 I feel good because of the way she speaks, what she's making. It looks really delicious. The next thing I flip to is someone's workout and I'm like, oh, okay, I can try that out. I feel good. The next thing when I swipe, I'm seeing people dancing, that feels good. The next person I listen to is saying a joke or is doing a skit. I feel good. The next person I'm listening to is talking about older secular music that they don't listen to because they're now a Christian. It feels good as you are scrolling. And one thing about TikTok algorithm, Instagram is improving on this too, right? But they know what you like to watch, so they curate your For You page or your Explore page to that. How long do you spend on TikTok scrolling or on Instagram scrolling? Please comment down below. I will wait. I'm joking. I'm not calling anyone out here. I also experienced the same thing, and at some point long form content was becoming boring to me because I needed people to get to the point. But it is natural to be bored. It is natural to be bored, guys. I remember there was a point where I wasn't reading anymore because I wasn't being intentional about it. And at some point, the electricity went. I read a book in about 3-4 hours, a whole book in 3-4 hours. Granted, it was a short book and it was very interesting, but I just needed to occupy my mind with something. You have to be still. At some point in your day, not in your life, but at some point in your day, you have to be still. Otherwise, you are stressing your brain out, you're stressing your body out, you're stressing your eyes out, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. So am I saying that dopamine is wrong? No. It is important for survival. We need it. But we have to learn to seek good dopamine. We have to learn to also detox from it, because anything that you have in excess becomes bad. So am I saying that we should not chase dopamine? No. Dopamine is good, like I said. The value of dopamine is that it helps us to survive. So the things that stimulate our mind and give us new information actually activates the dopamine hormone. So if you're learning, if you're reading, you are definitely going to experience that dopamine high. And that is good for your own development, right? So the dopamine high is good. If you decide to make your comfort food because it is a gloomy, rainy day, that is also a good dopamine high. We need it, but you cannot have dopamine in your system the whole day, because what that does is it creates an addiction. So I'm going to list down some of the impulsive or addictive behaviors that come because of having too much dopamine in your system, things that you might want to look into and see if you're doing excessively or not. So the first one, and I think the most relevant in this generation, is social media use. We have emotional eating, which I have mentioned before. Emotionally eating once in a while is healthy. You actually need it. It helps to boost your mood, but when you overdo it, it's not really good for your health. Another thing is too much use of the internet or gaming, whereby, and when I say excess, I mean you're losing sleep because you're gaming or you're always scrolling on the internet. Another one is gambling. Gambling will definitely give you a dopamine high because you win some, but you also lose some. But when you win, you think you're going to continue winning, and we all know that at some point gambling becomes an addiction. Another one is shopping. I shop emotionally. Like if I'm feeling down, retail therapy, but that's just once in a while. I don't think I've ever gotten to a point where shopping has been an addiction, but I can see it being that way because I feel so good. I feel so good when I'm shopping. So everything in moderation. I am going to line underneath my eyes, something I haven't done in such a long time. So wish me luck. Alright, let's do some highlight. So what are some of the ways in which you can get dopamine in a healthy manner and naturally. You can actually get it from food. If you're a chocolate lover, you can get dopamine from that, and again, in moderation. You can get it from leafy greens, pumpkin seed. You can get it from green tea as well. You can get it from almonds, from bananas, from turmeric, and from watermelon. I know some of you are moving into summer, so if you want a natural dopamine high, get you some watermelon. And in terms of activity, you can play with a loved one. If you play with your children, play with your parents, play with your spouse, then you will get a dopamine high. You can also get it if you're playing with a pet. You can also exercise. And let me tell you something about working hard for your dopamine. It lasts longer. So I'm pretty sure every time you have played, every time you have exercised, if you read a book, if you go out for a walk in nature, that dopamine high lasts longer because you know you've worked for it. Whereas when I personally eat food that's not good for me, I feel good for the moment, and then after that, not so well, because it comes with a high and it comes with a very strong crash. In conclusion, we have as many emotions as we do to regulate ourselves and for survival. That is why when you eat certain things, you might have a feeling of disgust. That is your body trying to stop you from getting poisoned. With the same reaction that you have when you eat chili, you cry, your tongue is on fire. That's your body also trying to protect you because it thinks it's poisonous. The same way you feel sad, you're supposed to feel sad. Everyone feels sad. They feel happy. They feel alert. They feel attentive. They feel motivated. All of the negative feelings that come with being a human being are natural. You just don't have to sit in them for a long time. But you cannot chase happiness all the time. It's impossible. Life doesn't work that way, and you're straining your body if you're only making it want one thing, and unfortunately it will become addicted to that feeling if you're not careful with it. And once you're addicted, it means that the normal things that you're supposed to do, you're not going to have enough attention for it. You're supposed to be working, you can't. You want to pick up your phone, you want to check social media, you cannot do the normal things you're supposed to do in life because you have become addicted to something that gives you a dopamine high. In conclusion, be okay with being bored. I did a story time last Friday about how we used to go to the village, and believe me, for me in the beginning it was boring because you don't have TV, you don't have electricity, you don't have running water. But the memories that we created then were so precious that I can remember them now. And sometimes you have to just sit in it. Sit in your boredom and be still. Be still. If you've gotten to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. Can you please share with me what some of the things you do to work hard for your dopamine? And if you are suspecting that you are addicted to something that is affecting your attention span, please let me know in the comments as well. The siren all the time, it happens here, so I guess that is my cue to go. Please don't forget to comment, like, tell a friend to subscribe, and also don't skip the ads, and I will see you tomorrow.